Okay, so welcome back. We are still going over some of the Missile Swarm gameplay. So I've got my list here of 5 gnats and 2 buzzards. Light missile stacked on everybody except for one of the buzzards. Now, what you're seeing here is what I usually do is I deploy the missile swarm very spread out across the entire deployment zone, try to keep the buzzards furthest back and a couple of the nets also far back. And the reason why is, as I've explained in the previous video, we want to make sure that the squadron is spread out so that in the event that our opponent infiltrates the position, he doesn't get behind everybody and then just gun everybody down like Poe Dameron. So we're going up against the same kind of list archetype that we were discussing in the previous video, which is a low aircraft count, high agility, expensive list. In this case here is the Barracuda Plus, 4 of them flown by Dark Grumpets here. So this is the list that always gives me the toughest time, or at least it's the one that always concerns me. This and a Screamer Swarm. Although I have yet to face a Screamer Swarm with this version of the list. I've played a pure Nat Missile Swarm, and I've had to go off from that because once your opponent kind of figures out what your whole gimmick is, it's very easy to counter a Nat Missile Swarm, especially with a Screamer Swarm. That's like a hard counter against a Nat Missile Swarm. I've said before, 2 Nats aren't quite worth 1 Screamer. And yeah, I learned that out the hard way. So, what we're going to see here is basically a little bit of the same stuff that we did from the previous video. We're going to play our game where we are shifting the engagement zone away from the terrain on the right. So what I've done is I've shuffled the entire squadron around the map edges, and we're trying to draw dock here into an area where we've got open lines of sight. The only obstacle right now is this one mountain that's like right in the middle of everything. But that's about it. It's better than having the 3 mountains that's on the right side of the map. Now, the biggest concern that I have here is that he's going to peel off a barracuda or two to the left side of the mountain because the way that I've shifted my squadron, we are heavily leaning to the left side here. If he comes in on the right side, he'll have a very good position to infiltrate my squadron and get in behind our guys. I'm trying my best to keep everyone spread out so that in the event that something really bad happens and we miss everything in the opening salvo here and he gets behind us and already does a lot of damage, we'll have the rest of the squadron already in mutual support range to start put pressure and try not play into his game of getting into a really close range dogfight. Now, the mistake that he makes here, and I've said it before, but the problem is I don't have all of the good replays recorded. I have 3 games that I've posted on the channel, it's all unlisted, where it showcases Killian using Barracuda pluses. When you're using the super high agility aircraft like this, you don't want to fly them in close formations like this because you're negating the strength that they have, which is their boost and barrel roll maneuvers, which basically, if used correctly, can second guess or make your opponent second guess every move that he's making. But most of the folks that I see now, all the new players that have come in, what they do is that they use the boost and barrel rolls as like this sort of extra evasion maneuver that they could do, and not as a powerful uh, positioning tool to get offset angles on your opponent. As we saw in the previous video, Alex, when he was flying the vampires, he kept them all in very close tight formation, and that makes my life really easy when you're flying this specific missile swarm list that I have with the missile bees. It's very easy to predict where you're gonna go because I've seen you fly everyone all together. All I need to do now is just predict where one of them is moving, and then all of them will be moving there. And what has happened here is that he didn't take that offline that I was talking about. He just went straight in on one side of the mountain, which basically plays into my game because the 2 Nats and Buzzard that I have on the south side here, I have them positioned already, ready for him. For once he gets to the other side of the mountain and gets out into the open, I've got 3 aircraft now that's got missiles all loaded and ready to go. So yeah, there's that's going on here. Now he's gonna try his best to close the position without taking too much damage, but he's already misplayed some plays here. He should have popped Flare with one of the leading Barracudas much earlier. it would have been better to have pop flares with the lead Barracuda, the one that's the closest out of the formation. Because by the time the flares pop out by the second turn, they'll have already have covered the other three aircraft. Because of the way that he was positioned and the way that my aircraft were approaching from the west here. He could have easily have decoyed multiple missiles out of that. But at the same time, we are also trying our best to economize our missiles. We do not want to fire all the missiles immediately. Like right here, we've only fired like what, one, two missiles out of everything that we have, and we have like what? How many do we have? 24 missiles? If we're not including the missile bees, which means we have like 36 missiles in total. If we are including the missile bees. Um, when that gets deleted there, it is what it is. Probably could have just gone for an evade maneuver and get out of dodge, but I think I was trying to gamble here because he's coming on head on. The thing about Barracudas, whether it's the Barracuda and the Barracuda Plus, uh, they are very, very weak in head on attacks. So if you are going up against a Barracuda, if you have the opportunity to take the head on, because you're not going to get that opportunity many times in the game if it's played right. So yeah, Doc is just still going all in, straight head on with the buzzard and the gnat that's left up there. But he's already come out to the other side of the mountain. He has popped flares, but all we need to do now is just fly really slow with our gnats that are further back here. Buy as much time and keep the range as far as possible so that we can utilize all of our missiles, and we should be in a good position. So okay, yeah. Now I'm making some very risky moves because I'm firing missiles and missile bees like really close to my own aircraft here, and there's always the chance that you could connect with one of your own guys. But it's a risk you have to take when you're flying this specific list that I have made here. You can't afford to let your opponent get any kind of room to maneuver whatsoever. Like right now, if it were a normal position, if I had kept my squadron a little bit more bunched up, he's basically about to infiltrate my squadron's position, and it's basically going to become game over at that point. But because everyone's so spread out, we have the opportunity to fire everything. We're just going to take the risk, and if we hit some of our own guys, well, then that's just too bad. But it's better than just giving him uh, free room to play whatever it is that he wants with his barracudas. So yeah, we're taking our time here. If I see that the missile shot is just not going to work out, in this case, light missiles from our leftmost aircraft, looking at the closest Barracuda that's just next to the mountain. If we try to fire missiles right now, it won't work. The two sets of flares that are already in play behind them, they will mask and very easily prevent decoy the missiles basically. So there we go. We get some decent hits there with the missile bees. And now he is out of energy with one of his barracudas. And once the barracuda is out of energy, it's basically a sitting duck. And the missile bee shines against aircraft that have no more options to move. So right there, we can see just where he can move right now. A tip that I could give with high agility fighters, if you do have the afterburners on them, afterburners still work when you're doing the recovery maneuver. It's something that I myself made a mistake many times when I first started playing the game. I think that, oh, the guy's out of energy, he can't really move anywhere. But then, if he still has the afterburner with charges on it, he actually still can actually move places. So something you need to be careful about. In X-Wing, the way it works mechanically is that if a ship is stressed, they can't do any of these like fancy moves. They have to recover their energy state first before they can start doing all the fancy maneuvers. But not in Mach speed intercept. The afterburner works just like an afterburner. It's not some kind of maneuver gimmick. It is just raw power in the engine pushing you along in places. So we've got some missiles in the air. Most of the flares have died off. We have stripped in of almost all these flares. I think there's still one Barracuda out here that has one set of flares left, and he flies both Barracudas into the missile bee there. Um, Unfortunate. I don't think Doc has played at this point in time when the match was played. I don't think he had faced Buzzards that much because he was new to the game. So I was not ashamed to use this list because it was relatively new at the time that I was playing. I think I only played it twice before this game with Doc. And as I've said before, at face value, missile swarms, especially gnat missile swarms, they are very easy to play. But it's once your opponent figures out what your one gimmick is, then the game is over. But what I've tried to do with this list here is that I've tried my best to try and make it as meta as possible. So not only do you have to have the list with a lot of missiles and a lot of missile types and the two buzzers with the missile bees, you do need to know how to actually play it. Especially once you go up against a list archetype which is very, very deadly to your own. And at this point I have yet to play it against Killian, who is the guy that I do want to fly a Barracuda list against this list because I know that he's really good at the game, just so that I've got a fair experiment going. I know what the benchmark is for just how far I can push this list. So there goes those two Barracudas in the north there. They're toast. And yeah, we're in the end game now. If you're just looking at the HP of the two squadrons that are left here, Doc only has 57 HP in total. And we are still basically almost completely healthy with the exception of the one nat that we lost in the opening engagement. Yeah, he's not in a good position. Is it possible to come back from this? Yes, it is. Somebody has done it against me before, but then again, that was back when I was bad at the game. So, is it a fair comparison? I'll leave that up to everyone else. Um, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to speed up the replay because, as I've said, we are watching a re-recording of the game. There's no replay system in Mach Speed Intercept at this point in time. So the system that I have set up here with OBS is not that easy to fiddle around as it usually is when you have like a War Thunder replay or any other kind of replay system that's a little bit more well polished. But you know what? We'll just watch the whole thing in real time towards the end. So we've knocked down another Barracuda, and yeah, you know what? I changed my mind. It's basically drove at this point. I don't think there's much that we can learn from this point on. So yeah, hopefully things I've said make sense. This is part two to the previous video where I go over this list being played against a vampire list. The next video I'm going to talk about is going to be more general and more beginner friendly in terms of like how to evaluate and how to build lists, I suppose. So yeah, thank you for watching.